What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 13, Thursday Night Football.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
Okay, in this video, I'm going to give you my top picks for the Thursday Night Football Showdown between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Oh, and good news, guys. Make sure to stay tuned to the very end of this video because we removed the box that was popping up and blocking the lineup. So now you can see a full lineup using these picks that we made in this video if you stay to the very end. Okay, guys, let's take a look at this Thursday Night Football Showdown between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. So at the quarterback position, I like Dak Prescott from the Dallas Cowboys playing the New Orleans Saints, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, but they give up the fourth most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Dak Prescott has averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 2.7 rush attempts per game. He's projected at 22.6 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 11,800 DraftKings salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47.5 points scored in this game, with the Cowboys favored by 5. So even though he's going to be without Amari Cooper, I love this matchup. And Dak Prescott scored 28, 6, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games. He's going to be about 62% owned, so I like Dak Prescott here versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, for the New Orleans Saints, you got Taysom Hill going up against the Cowboys, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing quarterbacks. Now, Taysom Hill, I think he's a high-risk, high-reward play here. He has played well previously when he got the start at quarterback. He's got that rushing upside, so he could rush for a touchdown, throw for a couple of touchdowns. It's possible he has a big game here. He's 9,600 DraftKings salary, projected at 19.1 fantasy points. He's going to be about 67% owned, so a lot of people are liking that the salary savings that they're going to get coming down off of Dak Prescott for Taysom Hill, and you can't ignore that rushing upside. So I think both these quarterbacks are a good play. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Dak Prescott if I'm going to play a quarterback, but I like Taysom Hill here versus the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. Now, you just got to keep an eye on the injury news. Alvin Kamara is currently questionable at the time I'm recording this video from the New Orleans Saints, and Alvin Kamara has averaged 20.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 18.3 rush attempts per game and 5.5 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 79% of the snaps, going to be about 48% owned if he does end up playing this game, and he's projected at 16.7 fantasy points. He's 11,200 DraftKings salary. So if Alvin Kamara does play, he's definitely captain material. Now, it's always a little hard playing a guy right when they come back from injury. You don't know if they're going to be 100%, but if he is good to go, I think he's going to get a big workload here. So I like Alvin Kamara here versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
All you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
And for the Dallas Cowboys, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, and he's averaging 17.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 14.6 rush attempts per game and 4.2 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 68% of the snaps, going to be about 41% owned, projected at 14.6 fantasy points here tonight. He's 10,800 DraftKings salary, and Ezekiel Elliott has scored 17, 13, and 22 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 9, 9, and 14 rush attempts on top of 8, 6, and 3 pass targets. So the volume is not popping off the page here, but he has been involved in the passing game the past couple of games. So let's see, that's 17 touches last game, 15 touches the game before that. Ideally, you want to see 20 plus touches for Zeke, but he can get there. His performance hasn't been bad. So I like Ezekiel Elliott here versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, if Alvin Kamara is out by chance, then that's going to bump up a guy like Mark Ingram, who's only 5,000 DraftKings salary. So just keep an eye on the injury news. If Alvin Kamara is out, then that's going to make Mark Ingram a pretty juicy play here as the lead running back at only 5,000 salary. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. So at the top of the slate here, you got CeeDee Lamb from the Dallas Cowboys, and the New Orleans Saints give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb has averaged 17.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.7 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 76% of the snaps, going to be about 38% owned, projected at 16.1 fantasy points here tonight, and he's 10,000 DraftKings salary. So with no Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb could be in for a huge workload here, and that's why his salary is up and his ownership is up. He's got major upside, so I like CeeDee Lamb here versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, if you want to save some salary at the wide receiver position, take a look at Michael Gallup from the Dallas Cowboys. He's averaged 10.7 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.5 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 100% of the snaps, and he's going to be about 29% owned, projected at 11.2 fantasy points here tonight. He's only 6,800 DraftKings salary, and he scored 19, 9, and 7 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 8, 10, and 5 pass targets. So he should get plenty of pass targets in this one. He's got good upside for his lower price tag, so I like Michael Gallup here versus the New Orleans Saints. Okay, the wide receivers for the Saints, this is where you're going to save your salary. So the guy that I like the most out of the wide receiver Saints is Traquan Smith. And he's scored 7, 11, and 14 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 5, 8, and 7 pass targets. He's been on the field for 100% of the snaps, going to be about 31% owned, projected at 9.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's only 5,600 DraftKings salary, and the Dallas Cowboys give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. So good matchup for these New Orleans Saints wide receivers here. So I like Traquan Smith here versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. Our NBA tools are awesome. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Now, another guy to mention, although I do like Traquan Smith a little bit better because he's lower salary, but the other wide receiver from the Saints you got to take a look at is Marquez Callaway. He's averaging 9.3 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.6 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 77% of the snaps, going to be about 19% owned, projected at 7.3 fantasy points here tonight. He's 6,400 DraftKings salary, and he scored 4, 10, and 12 fantasy points in the last 3 games, off of 4, 4, and 4 pass targets. So you can see Traquan Smith has been outperforming Marquez Callaway over the last 3 games in both fantasy points scored and pass targets. So that's going to lead to Traquan Smith being getting larger percentage of the ownership, but don't discount Marquez Callaway. He does have some upside in this matchup. So I like Marquez Callaway here versus the Dallas Cowboys. And now if you want to save even more salary here, this is a nice value play on the slate. Take a look at Diontae Harris from the New Orleans Saints. He's averaging 8.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.5 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 32% owned, projected at 7.8 fantasy points here tonight. And that large ownership is because he's only 4,600 DraftKings salary. So it looks like a lot of people are going to look to Diontae Harris to give their lineup some salary relief so they can fit in those studs. So I like Diontae Harris as a value play here versus the Dallas Cowboys. And speaking of value plays, take a look at Lil Jordan Humphrey from the New Orleans Saints. He scored 8 fantasy points last game off of 5 pass targets. He's going to be about 7% owned, projected at 2.7 fantasy points here tonight. That projection is low because his season numbers really aren't that good at all, but his last couple of games he scored 8 and 7 fantasy points, and he's only 2,600 DraftKings salary. So if you're really strapped for cash in your lineup and you just need that last spot, you only have 2,600 left or around there, then go ahead and plug in Lil Jordan Humphrey here versus the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, moving on to the tight end position, I like Dalton Schultz from the Dallas Cowboys, and Dalton Schultz has averaged 11.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 80% of the snaps, going to be about 27% owned, projected at 10.7 fantasy points here tonight. He's 7,600 DraftKings salary, and Dalton Schultz has scored 16, 11, and 2 fantasy points in the last 3 games off of 7, 8, and 2 pass targets. So pretty decent volume and production the past couple of games. So I like Dalton Schultz here versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, this ownership kind of stuck out to me for some reason. Well, I guess it's because he's the starting tight end here, or the number 1 tight end for the New Orleans Saints, Juwan Johnson. Now, he's only averaged 4.2 fantasy points per game off of 1.8 pass targets per game, but he's going to be about 21% owned. He's only 1,400 DraftKings salary, so that's the reason for the big ownership here. You're getting a starting tight end for only 1,400 DraftKings salary. Never know what can happen there. That's a deep sleeper pick, although the ownership is pretty high. So I would probably only play him in one lineup out of 10. I'm not going 21% ownership here, but the low salary does make him attractive. So I think Juwan Johnson is a pretty good deep sleeper pick here versus the Dallas Cowboys.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.